So Justin Trudeau is not exactly a constitutional scholar, although he's been a very effective politician. And so I don't think there's like an overarching narrative or thread to his legal legacy. But if I were to identify two things that sort of mark a lot of the actions that he took, one is this sort of soft social justice ideology that comes out in things like the Cannabis Act and his response to allegations of genocide. And the second is really just political expediency, what he thought was necessary at the time to stay in power.
You brought up he's not a constitutional scholar, and one of the things that's really interesting is of course his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he was, and I think that there's this expression that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I think that one of the things that Trudeau Jr. is always going to be remembered for is actually one of the same things his father is going to be remembered for, which is abusing emergency legislation. In his father's case, in Pierre Elliott Trudeau's case, it was the War Measures Act. In Junior's case, it was the Emergencies Act. So do you think that's going to be a part of his legacy?
I mean, absolutely. He was the first politician to invoke the Emergencies Act in its history, which of course was drafted to replace the War Measures Act. And the funny thing is that in both cases of both men, I would say they're equally shocking. But it's just fresher in our memories, not just that he invoked the Emergencies Act, but that he took punitive measures like freezing bank accounts and cracking down on peaceful protests. And then, in my opinion, he essentially lied when he testified, or at very least, he twisted language to justify and twisted the language of the Emergencies Act to defend his invocation of it when clearly the government did not have the requisite justification or evidence to meet that very stringent test.
Now, of course, this is an issue that you and I are sort of seized with, since we both are with the Canadian Constitution Foundation, which is the charity that brought that successful legal challenge to Justin Trudeau's invocation of that emergency legislation.